play ball.
Let's play ball and let's win a ball game. Thank you, Bobby.
And thank you, Johnny. Felix, thank you. Thanks to Johnny, his family, and in honor of you tonight, the Brewers have further informed me that tonight's game in your honor has been canceled. Now, we got a game to play. It's the Brewers and the Phillies. Thank you guys for being a part of it. And thank you all for coming. And Johnny, once again, we love you. Congratulations.
Only Bob Uecker could handle that as well as anybody. Well done, and congratulations to Johnny Logan. We're coming right back.
Welcome you a Thursday night from Miller Park, Milwaukee, and it's the Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies, game one of a four-game series. Carlos Gomez back in the starting lineup. Brewers coming off a series loss against the Oakland Athletics. Gene Segura, one of the top hitters in the league, he's in there as well. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. And Rock, those two guys we just showed, you can't call them hot anymore. They're just good. They have had sustained success so far this season.
Yeah, and what has started out as a very disappointing season for the Brewers so far, it's been a lot of fun watching these two guys go at it. Carlos Gomez, Gene Segura, both of them have been in the top 10 or near in hitting. They can run, they can play defense. It's been a lot of fun watching these guys, and both of them certainly should have a very good shot at going to their first All-Star game. We need to vote for them because these two guys are on the top of their game.
You can go to Brewers.com. You can vote up to 35 times per email account. They are deserving for sure. Willie Peralta, he's on the mound. He beat the Phillies his last time out. We'll talk Willie, get you ready for first pitch when we continue from Miller Park. Is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Just about set for first pitch tonight. Brewers, Phillies. It'll be the first of a 4-game set. Willie Peralta has the ball when we continue. Miller Park, it is 54 degrees outside. The roof is closed up. Doesn't feel like June, but it is. And we're all set for Brewers baseball tonight. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes, our reporter. And the Brewers and the Phillies tonight. Just saw them last weekend. Charlie Manuel's Phillies coming off a sweep of the Marlins. They've won 4 games in a row. The Brewers took a series 2 out of 3 from the Phillies in Philadelphia last weekend. Here's the Phillies batting order brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. It's Michael Young leading off, John Mayberry, then Jimmy Rollins, Howard Brown and Young in the middle, Eric Kratz, Freddie Galvis, and Tyler Cloyd rounding out the starting 9 for the Phillies. And that's the batting order that will face Willie Peralta.
And you can see the numbers for Willie. 13th appearance, a 4-6 record. He snapped a personal 4-game losing streak with a win against the Phillies. He featured a very good slider in that start last Saturday in Philadelphia. The Menards Brewers defense. Scooter Gennett makes his 3rd consecutive start at second base. Juan Francisco, the left-handed batter, at first once again. And that's your defense behind Willie Peralta tonight.
Well, Scooter Gennett with his first big league hit yesterday, so he's got that one out of the way and getting a chance to play a lot here lately. And those 2 left-handed hitters on the right side of that infield in Francisco and Gennett. Peralta's ready to go. Michael Young leading off for the Phillies, and there is strike 1, and off we go tonight from Miller Park. .36-year-old Michael Young bounces that one through. Gennett knocks it down. Throw to first. Skips away from Francisco, and Young is aboard on an infield hit. Good effort by Gennett.
And it looked as though he slipped a little bit once he got that baseball up the middle on the backhand. He was able to get there, but watched it slip right before he makes the throw, and that's what made it a little bit off the mark. So the leadoff single for Philadelphia. Michael Young did not appear in the series against Milwaukee and Philly.
Now, Young was on the bereavement list. There was an illness with his infant child, and he only returned to the Phillies on Monday. Played in that series against the Marlins, was 2 for 9 in that series. and is hitting leadoff tonight for the first time since 2004 when he was a member of the Texas Rangers. And here's John Mayberry Jr. now, who had a big walk-off grand slam for the Phillies against the Marlins in their last series. And we're taking a look at some of the rounds drafted in of these players. Today is the beginning of the MLB draft, and it's already underway. And of course, we'll bring you the Brewers' first pick, which won't come until the second round. We're expecting that about 9:30 or so.
But the war room here at Miller Park has been buzzing. A lot of fun draft day for everybody. You know, the organizations, players are on the edge of their seat wherever they might be. Big day for the amateur players.
Brewers having to be very patient. Bruce Side and his gang upstairs, Doug Melvin and Gord Ash, of course, up in the war room, and we'll have a feature on that and just about how the Brewers go toward drafting a player. And it is fun to think back and find out when some of these players were taken, and you never know who's going to turn into a major league player. They come in all shapes and sizes and all rounds, and many not even drafted, especially a lot of the Latin players signing as free agents. We'll have a special on the Brewers draft on Fox Sports Wisconsin later this month. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mayberry. And a bouncing ball up the middle. Jeanette backhands it, runs into Segura, and Mayberry beats it out.
A couple of ground balls by Peralta. He does that very well, getting ground ball outs. And 2 ground balls, 2 base hits. The Phillies have been placing their grounders pretty well up the middle. A little indecision between Jeanette and Gene Segura. They both go for the baseball. Segura peels off, but runs right into Jeanette and makes his throw a little bit more difficult. Jeanette covering a lot of ground on the shortstop side of the bag.
And something that Segura is not used to, and he almost wiped out Segura with that throw. It went right over his cap.
Banged into each other. Then he had to duck out of the way. That ball coming right at the noggin.
Now the opportunity at an out was at second base. And perhaps only if Segura goes to the bag does Jeanette have a play. But it gives you an idea of how much range both players have. And as they work more together, they'll start to iron out some of the communication difficulties. Haven't played a whole lot together, although they were together in Double-A Huntsville briefly last year after the trade was made, bringing Segura from the Angels. But in time.
I think what it shows you, as you mentioned, both very good range, both of them able to get there.
So that brings up Jimmy Rollins with 2 on and nobody out. And just look how far these 2 middle infielders go to make a play on this baseball.
Segura's not even in the picture when this play starts. I mean, he gets up there, and Jeanette on the shortstop side of the bag, and that's why you see the collision. Both of them going a long way to get the baseball.
Now, Rollins is the normal leadoff hitter for the Phillies. But in the absence of Chase Utley, as Rollins rips that one to right field, a base hit. And they're going to hold Young around third, and it's a fast start for Philadelphia. 3 straight hits, bases loaded with nobody out. Well, Willie Peralta is coming off a win his last time out. His 4th of the year, and one of his better performances, the head and shoulders whiff. And Rocky matched a career best in that game in strikeouts.
Well, he had a great slider. You see that pitch right there to get a batter. And he's got that breaking pitch working, particularly with 2 strikes. It becomes a very big strikeout pitch for him. But Willie started that game pretty well. 3 scoreless before he gave up a single run in the 4th inning. He picked up the win in 103 pitches, so he pitched well.
Second time he has 6 strikeouts in a game. And he is in a mess here early. 3 straight hits. Ryan Howard at the plate, who has 12 career grand slams. Ryan Howard, and still a major threat at the plate. A .254 hitter coming in with 7 homers, 29 runs batted in. A former 5th round draft pick by the Phillies over a decade ago. The hottest bat in this lineup has been Dominic Brown, who is on deck. He's the league leader in home runs, and he hurt the Brewers badly. And then he hurt the Marlins badly, and he's been hurting everyone badly this month.
To say he's hot is an understatement. Got 10 home runs in his last 12 games. That's amazing. But first things first, get Ryan Howard.
The Brewers would love to turn two. They'll concede the run to turn a double play here. Howard, a fly ball type hitter. Peralta is a ground ball type pitcher, though. Howard's bounced into 3 double plays this season. Now the Brewers coming off a series loss against the Oakland Athletics. They won in dramatic fashion on Tuesday, winning in walk-off style in extra innings. Lost yesterday, dropped 2 out of 3 to the A's. And trying to turn it around, make it a winning homestand as Howard cuts and misses. 2-2 the count.
Yeah, it looked like something off speed. That breaking ball again didn't do much, but the speed is what fooled Ryan Howard. There it is. Yeah, the slider, but it really doesn't do much.
Well, Howard will swing and miss a lot. Averages more than a strikeout per game. Peralta could use one of those here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. High stress pitches early for Peralta as that one's down and in. Good block by Lucroy. And the count goes to 3-2, and now Peralta is going to be forced to throw him a strike.
And that usually means the sinker. When he gets on top, he gets good downward movement on it. And when you look at Willie and his ground ball to fly ball ratio, pretty good. I mean, almost 3 ground balls to every fly ball. He needs one desperately right here.
Brewers have a bit of a shift on. It would be more pronounced if there was nobody on base. Still playing Howard to pull on the ground. The payoff pitch to Ryan Howard is swung on, lined into center field. Gomez closes, makes the catch. Great catch by Gomez. Scoring is Young. He tags and scores the first run. But Gomez showing the great speed, and he saves a couple of runs right there.
Yeah, got a very nice jump on that baseball going over to the gap. And I think Howard got that one down on the end just a little bit because it hung up for Gomez. It's slicing away from him, but with Carlos' speed, he's able to haul it in. That's a big out.
Well, Michael Young slipped across the top of the bag, hit it with the other foot to make sure he was on the bag, and able to score easily. And the Phillies have a 1-0 lead. And here's Dominic Brown now. Well, what a story this guy has been for the Phillies. He's the reigning player of the month in the National League in the month of May. As Peralta ties him up.
He's starting to rack up the RBIs too. I mean, he's always had the nice home run number. He's got 10 of them in 12 games. But 44 RBIs now.
And how about that? A 20th rounder back in 2006. First Philly to hit 12 home runs or more in a single month since Ryan Howard did it back in 2006. And Dominic Brown was the first Phillies player of the month in the National League since Howard was the player of the month back in 2006. The National League leader in long balls with 18. 9 home runs in his last 10 games and 17 driven in. And the Brewers felt that wrath a little bit.
And a 400 batting average, so it's not just the home runs. I guess you have 9 home runs. That's about all the hits you need to have a good, nice batting average.
Brown had 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the 3-game series against Milwaukee. And when you see a hitter as hot as Brown is, you are expecting a correction at some point, and the Brewers would like to be responsible for that correction here in the series. Brown also runs well. He's tough to double up.
And most of the home runs that he's hit, particularly the ones against the Brewers in Philly, were to left field. That's why you saw Willie try to get him on the outside corner.
A dead pull power hitter, Dominic Brown. Hitters count 3-1, and he walks him. So Brown doesn't bite. He doesn't walk much, but that number has started to pick up with the kind of success he's having at the plate. And that was really the only question when the Brewers saw him in Philadelphia: is he going to be patient enough to take his walk? Sometimes when you're swinging the bat as well as he is, you feel like you can hit anything.
Now they're starting to work him away a lot more. At least you would think that they would try, because he is a pull hitter, everything to right field, just about.
Well, that's his 12th walk. And when the Brewers last saw Dominic Brown, he had just 5. And had no walks in the entire month of May. Winning the Player of the Month, he did not walk once.
Well, he hit a 3-0 home run against the Brewers in Philly. They tried to walk him, but he knocked the 3-0 pitch out of the ballpark.
That was against Gallardo. So the bases are loaded again, 1 away, and here is Delmon Young. A first pitch fastball swinger, Delmon Young. Great opposite field power as well. And he swings away. Got a slider from Peralta. Young was the first overall pick back in '03. That was the year the Brewers had the number 2 pick, and that was Ricky Weeks. There's always some interesting pre-draft workout stories of Delmon Young taking batting practice in this ballpark as they worked him out to see what kind of player he would be, and apparently he was raining him down on Bernie Slide as a high school player.
Yeah.
A decade ago.
He's got some power. Consistency is what has been his issue.
Young has had some off-field troubles. Was, most recently with the Detroit Tigers. Was an excellent performer in the postseason for Detroit. Signed a 1-year deal with the Phillies. An incentive-laden contract. And that skips away from Lucroy. A run's going to score. So a wild pitch, and this one's off to a very shaky start tonight. Second and third. 2 runs are in, still just 1 out, and it's a 2-1 count on Delmon Young.
And putting back-to-back good starts together has been tough for Peralta. He was so good his last time against these Phillies. Really struggling to, find that slider. It's either hanging up in the strike zone or he's spiking it in the dirt. And he just can't go out there and try to get the Phillies out with fastballs.
Brewers bring their infield in now in the first inning. Never a good sign. Well, it's been a constant struggle for Milwaukee. They just continue to have to play from behind. And Ramos Ramirez is bringing Jonathan Lucroy out. Looks like Ramirez is taking a leadership role here between pitcher and catcher.
And trying to get the communication between the pitcher and the catcher together. Maybe pitch calling. What Willie is trying to do, and I guess Ramos Ramirez recognized that there was an issue and he tried to help.
Just in case there was something lost in translation, Peralta speaks very good English, by the way, as does Ramirez. So it's 2-1 now. And Young slaps it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, but sometimes, maybe a pitcher or a catcher knows that there's some type of an issue going on and not really willing to say anything. So, a veteran like Ramirez would go in there and say, hey, what's on your mind? Let's work it out. Yeah, perhaps that's what it was.
Yeah, I like that. Brewers need that. 2-2 to Young. Peralta could use a strikeout. And Young hangs in there. Now the question becomes, how gun shy is Peralta going to be to throw that breaking ball in the dirt after the wild pitch a moment ago?
He just threw one and he hung it, and Delmon Young fouled it straight back. And Lucroy's been very good at blocking pitches. He's letting one get by tonight, but can't worry about it. If you're pitching, put it in the dirt, and hopefully he gets a swing.
Here comes a 2-2, and backhanded by Lucroy. That was a heck of a play there, as it skipped in a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and it goes to 3-2 now. Yep. Young has posted 12 runs batted in, has 5 homers, and he fouls another one away. And some free swinging going on by Delmon Young. It's 3-2. The count remains.
Well, Young's pretty confident that he's going to get a fastball. He did, and it was a pretty hittable pitch. Down in his zone, even in 97, you can get to that.
Two runs are in for the Phillies. 3 hits in the inning and a walk. Sac fly and an RBI by Howard. Other runs scored on a wild pitch. And Lucroy and Peralta continue to struggle to find the right pitch.
It wasn't the issue back in Philly. Those two worked together in that game.
And now Lucroy's on his way out.
A game in which Peralta was very good. 2 runs in 7 innings. Much different here tonight.
So we'll try another full count pitch. And he got him. So Lucroy blocks. Peralta throws the slider. And out number 2, as difficult as it was, finally occurs. That was quite a grind him out sequence there.
Yeah, long battle.
I beg your pardon, that was a changeup.
8 pitches, and Delmon Young finally gets the swing and a miss.
And a good block by Lucroy.
That's a gutsy pitch on a 3-2 count when you're struggling to find a strike zone.
So 2 outs, and here is Eric Kratz. There's strike 1 to the big catcher. Kratz is getting most of the playing time these days with the Phillies. He splits time with Humberto Quintero. Carlos Ruiz is still on the disabled list. He's with the club and expected to go on a minor league rehab soon. Ruiz has been out with a hamstring injury. One of the terrific catchers in the game, Ruiz. And a bouncing ball, and Peralta knocks it down, recovers, and makes the play and minimizes the damage. After all of that, the Phillies get 2. Brewers coming up for the first time. Brewers coming up for the first time, and Ron Renicky going with a batting order that has some balance at the bottom. He's got some left-handers down there. Our Piggly Wiggly batting order today with Aoki, Segura, and Braun, Ramirez, Lucroy, and Gomez in the middle, Francisco, Jeanette, and Peralta rounding it out against Tyler Cloyd, the right-hander, who matched up against Peralta last Saturday and pitched pretty well despite not winning.
Yes, he did. 3 runs, 2 of them earned. The Brewers were able to win that ball game. 1-4 down in the minor leagues in 7 starts. A 6.5 earned run average, but he's been much better at the big league level. He's given up 3 runs or less in 7 of 10 major league starts in his career.
I had a terrible start against Boston prior to his outing against the Brewers, where he gave up 6 earned runs and 2 1/3, and really 3 starts where he's given up more than 6 runs have beat up his ERA. He has some pretty impressive games throughout his season game log this year, and twice going 7 innings in his last 3 outings.
There's that one against the Red Sox. I mean, that'll blow up an earned run average early in the season. But he's been pretty good, except for a couple of blow-up starts. He's either really good or really bad.
Nori Aoki coming in, batting .296 with 4 home runs, 13 driven in. Aoki's working on a streak of 49 consecutive plate appearances without a strikeout. Been one of the toughest hitters to strike out in the major leagues, and he comes in to play today as the #1 toughest to strike out in Major League Baseball. 21.1 plate appearances between Ks.
Yeah, which is why he's up around that 300 mark. Instead of the swing and a miss, he'll beat one into the ground and maybe get an infield hit. That's what you want out of your leadoff hitter.
Aoki with an on-base percentage of .364, and a little ground ball out to Rollins, the Gold Glover, makes the play to get Nori Aoki.
Well, let's check out the Nards defense for the Philadelphia Phillies. John Mayberry Jr. out in center field. It was Ben Revere when the Brewers were in Philly. Freddie Galvis plays second in place of Chase Utley. He's on the disabled list again. And Michael Young back in the lineup, back from the bereavement list on Monday.
So 1 out here is Gene Segura. Segura checks in tonight among league leaders in a number of offensive categories. The .339 batting average is good enough for 4th in the National League. He leads the league in hits and in triples. He's 3rd in the league in stolen bases and multi-hit games. And a broken bat base hit to right center. And Segura with an aggressive turn continues to hit. A 1-out single here in the 1st inning.
No, and that's why that approach. It's been good from the beginning of the season until today, and taking that ball into right field. Might not hit it well, but the approach going to right field is what allows him to get a 1-out single right off the end of the bat.
Had an unusual sound to it.
Right off the end, yeah, that top bat slips right down the center.
It's about as close to an aluminum sound as a wood bat will give you right there. There's Ryan Braun now. Braun got the day off yesterday. He's been nursing a sore thumb. Braun comes in batting .292. Has 9 home runs, but has not homered in a while. Ryan's last home run came on the 22nd of May. But his next home run will tie him with Jeff Jenkins for 3rd all-time in franchise history. Robin Yount is the all-time home run leader with 251, and then there's Prince Fielder with 230, and then Jenkins, and then Braun.
And you can tell sometimes that thumb has been giving him a problem for the last week to 10 days, because the power just really hasn't been there for Ryan. He's been in a a drought hitting home runs and still able to keep those RBI totals up. But if you've ever had a jammed thumb or a bone bruise on the thumb, you'll know that it's very difficult to grip that bat and generate power.
Yeah, and every time you make impact, if you don't hit it perfectly on the sweet spot, and you think about how many swings he takes every day and how often he's hitting a baseball, whether it's batting practice or in the games or the tee work, he's trying to cut down on his batting practice a little bit, but you still have to do the things necessary to get ready for a game, so you can't just totally dismiss your pregame routine.
Yeah, you can't shut it down. You have to stay in your normal routine. You know, some guys will use those pads that wrap around the thumb. Ryan Braun will not do that. Just doesn't like the feel of that pad on his bat.
Now the 3 and 4 hitters in the Brewers lineup, Braun and Ramirez, for the most part getting their hits. But the slugging percentage, the power numbers, the production has not quite been there throughout the month of May and early into June. Little tapper up along first, and the play is made as Cloyd goes to Ryan Howard for out number two, excuse me. Segura advances to second.
And remembering the start by Cloyd in Philly, it was basically two seamers and cutters. And a lot of fastballs. Doesn't throw very hard. Doesn't really ever get close to 90 miles an hour. He'll throw a slow curve from time to time, but fastballs and cutters is predominantly what he used against the Brewers.
So here is Aramis Ramirez. Ramirez with a .306 batting average, a slugging percentage of .500. Normally Ramirez is a guy that's around .700 for slugging percentage. And on a day when we are keeping an eye on the MLB draft, we'll bring you updates as they come in. We're checking the draft position of a number of these players in the starting lineup tonight. Always a big day in baseball. The MLB draft, it'll be going on for the next couple of days. First and second round today. Third and fourth round tomorrow. Brewers will not pick until the second round. They'll have 2 picks in the second round. The speedy Segura at second base. And it goes to 3-1 on Ramirez. Aramis, like Braun, had the day off yesterday. Is still nursing that sore left knee as he takes strike 2, and not happy with the call from Dan Iasonia.
Yep, looking away, and Cloyd came inside on him, caught the inside corner. And a backdoor, front door cutter.
Looked like Ramirez had a beef. So a full count now, and Ramirez lays off. Ball 4, 2 on, 2 out, and neither one of these starting pitchers very sharp in the first inning. Peralta giving up 2 runs on 3 hits in the first. And now Cloyd in a little bit of trouble here with Jonathan Lucroy coming up. Lucroy's hot streak really started in Philadelphia. Had a 5-hit game last Friday, the first game of that series with the Phillies. 5 for 5 with 2 home runs against the Phillies in game 1. He's been a red hot hitter for Milwaukee as he pulls out into third. Michael Young to second for the out. What a play. Well, the Phillies are glad to have him back. Outstanding pick at third base to end the inning.
first-year player draft, the Houston Astros select Mark Appel, right-handed pitcher from Stanford University, Palo Alto, California.
And so that was it, the first pick. And interesting that Mark Appel, a dominant college pitcher at Stanford, he could have been the #1 pick last year, but I think scared a bunch of teams away. The Pirates ended up drafting him and did not were unable to sign him. He's from Houston, and the Astros will now have the enviable task of trying to get him signed to a contract.
It was kind of expected. I mean, Appel was going to be 1 or 2 in the draft, and big kid, and the Astros can certainly use some pitching. It's going to be a couple of years, you would think.
The Astros had the #1 overall pick last year. They went with a high school shortstop, and they get Appel this season. And he's going to take a pretty penny to get him signed. But that's great news for Houston. And certainly a guy that they will look forward to seeing in Houston. A hometown kid.
Well, you would think that the Astros have a few bucks to be able to spend on it, given their roster and their payroll right now.
Yeah, and I think they prepared their big league payroll for this particular moment. So congratulations to the Astros. Freddie Galvis leading off for the Phillies. He's in a 1-2 count. Peralta needing a quick inning here in the second, trying to settle back into this game. Did a nice job holding the Phillies to just 2 runs after they loaded the bases with nobody out. Could have been a lot more damage in that inning. It was a good catch by Gomez on Ryan Howard in the first inning as well.
But it could have been a lot better for Willie. Those first 2 hits, those seeing eye ground balls. I mean, if they're a little bit either way, they're 2 outs, but that's the way it goes sometimes. You don't have to hit the ball well to get on.
2-2 to Galvis, and he lifts one in the air to Braun out at left field in time, and 1 gone here for the Phillies.
Yeah, come out to the ballpark as the Brewers host these Philadelphia Phillies through Sunday. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Got a big weekend coming up with baseball. It's supposed to be nice weather here in Milwaukee. Sun's supposed to be out. Imagine that.
I haven't seen the sun in a few days. I thought I saw it for about 5 minutes yesterday. See Tyler Cloyd at the plate, the Phillies pitcher. A 2008 draft pick, the 18th round in 2008.
Not very impressive numbers for Cloyd down in the minor leagues to get a call up. I mean, he talked about it 1-4, a 6.5 ERA, but he was pretty impressive his last 4 years in the minor leagues. 21-6 record and a 266 earned run average.
Yeah, I think his big league call up had as much to do with his last 2 minor league starts as anything else. The numbers were bad, but in his last 2 starts he went 7 innings and then 8 innings and only gave up 4 earned runs combined in those 15 innings. So he was kind of the hot pitcher, and he fit into the rotation. He took the spot of Roy Halladay, who is out with a shoulder injury that required shoulder surgery. And the pitcher draws a walk. So Willie Peralta walks his mound opponent. That's never a good thing. Now join Fox Sports Wisconsin and test your basketball skills against the clock at the Milwaukee Bucks Pass Dribble Shoot Challenge at Harley-Davidson Museum. That's Saturday, July 20th, starting at 9 a.m. Open to males and females 7 years old and older. And for more details, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the upcoming events banner. Top of the order, Michael Young with 1 away. Made a nice play to end the bottom of the first. Picked up a smash by Lucroy on a hop to turn it into the final out.
Yeah, that could have easily gone down that left field line. Maybe a couple of runs scored.
I asked Charlie Manuel today. I said, how about Michael Young in your leadoff spot? Does that worry you at all? He goes, no, he's a hitter. He said he used to hit there back early in his career.
Yeah, if he can hit anywhere, right, Charlie?
Charlie was saying they need batting average, they need on-base percentage out of that leadoff spot, something they are missing without Jimmy Rollins in that role. Rollins is hitting third because Chase Utley is on the disabled list.
Need a guy to drive in some runs. I love talking to Charlie Manuel. I mean, you talk about simplistic, and it just makes a lot of sense, doesn't he? He doesn't try and confuse anybody.
A hitting guru, Charlie Manuel. Young sends that one to center field. Routine for Gomez for out number 2. Charlie Manuel's history is incredible. The fact that he played in the big leagues, but he also went to Japan. He was a star in Japan. All you have to do is ask Nori Aoki about Charlie Manuel. I remember when Takashi Saito was pitching for the Brewers. He actually wanted Charlie's autograph. He had a poster of Charlie Manuel.
Big star.
He was a big home run hitter, and he said he really learned how to hit, the art of hitting, while playing in Japan. He was a Yakult Swallow for 6 seasons in Japan. He also played for the Kintetsu, the Buffaloes.
Hitting coach for those Cleveland Indians teams that did so well. Big hitting ball clubs. Ryan Giles and Manny Ramirez. Roberto and Sandy Alomar. Yeah. He's done it all in baseball.
There's a strike on the corner, and it's 0-2 on Mayberry. Yeah, one of his prized pupils is now his boss, Ruben Amaro Jr. That's how they first got to know each other in Cleveland, when Amaro was a player.
Yeah.
And Manuel was the hitting coach.
Jim Thome on those teams. Boy, I tell you, those guys can hit with the best of them.
Mayberry able to lay off. Charlie Manuel's a little unorthodox. He doesn't have a bench coach. He and Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, handled most of the decisions. His coaches are very much involved in the game decisions. But there's no official bench coach listed for the Philadelphia Phillies. And Charlie handles a lot of the hitting as well. He's had a great run with the Phillies, including a World Series title, as Mayberry rips one into the gap at right center. And now we'll see if Cloyd's going to be able to score. They're going to send him. And Jeanette's throw to the plate. He dropped the baseball trying to hold up the throw. Wouldn't have mattered anyway, as Cloyd scores on the double by Mayberry.
And it seems like Jeanette and Gene Segura attached the hip out there in the early going here. And Segura right on top of Jeanette as he turned around to make that throw. A little bit too close to each other once again. Not sure why. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with being accustomed to playing up the middle together. But Cloyd, the pitcher, on a swing with 2 strikes, able to score. Check it out. Look how close he is. I think maybe he spooked him a little bit. Sooner or later, Jeanette's going to get a piece of Segura. It's almost twice now.
He almost wiped him out in the first inning. It's an RBI double for Mayberry, and it's 3-0 Phillies. And here's Jimmy Rollins.
Well, walking the pitcher has cost Willie Peralta in this inning. That's a no-no.
Jimmy Rollins, the former MVP, multiple Gold Gloves in his trophy case, and has been relatively healthy the last couple of seasons for the Phillies.
Well, they say he's lost his step here and there, but from what we've seen of Rollins this week, haven't seen it. Can still run.
Very quick out there. Good quick first step for Rollins defensively. And a good throwing arm.
Well, not a good start for Peralta tonight. In desperate need to try to turn this one around this evening. The Brewers are already in a tough spot with their starting pitching.
When you think about it, this is an important start to get deep because Alfredo Figueroa goes tomorrow and he's coming out of the bullpen, and then Gorzolani has been announced for Saturday. You wonder how long he's going to be able to stay out there. Hasn't started in a couple of years.
Yeah, the Brewers are still searching for answers in their starting rotation, and a lot of expressions just like that from pitching coach Rick Kranitz. 3-1 to Rollins, and that one's in there for a strike. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, at some point, Brock, you would think someone has to emerge. Someone's got to take the lead. As Rollins breaks his bat, that's a foul ball.
And each one of the starters, from time to time has been able to pick up some runs, pick up some innings, but not consistent in being able to do it.
That's our Miller Lite What's on Tap. And Figueroa, Gorzolani, got Loesch on Sunday in the first game of the road trip Monday at Miami with Gallardo.
Yeah, 2 guys coming out of the bullpen to make starts. I mean, that's why you need a good long start tonight.
And Peralta's pitch count already at 55 with this next offering. 3-2 on the way. Rollins in the air, center field. Gomez racing over, and he's got it for the out. Side retired. Phillies get a run. It's now 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Runs at this point on 4 hits. And now we'll see if the Brewers offense can start to chip away against Tyler Cloyd and the Phillies. Remember, Cloyd had that sprint around the bases in the top of the inning. We'll see if that affects him at all. Carlos Gomez leads off. And then a couple of lefties, Francisco and Jeanette. Gomez hitting .324 starting play today. Currently 8th best in the National League. And we talked about him in our open. He and Segura with continued success now over 2 full months plus. Gomez has just been a different player since about the All-Star break last year. Was basically a role player, platoon player in the first half of last season. But as the Brewers started to get hot, they made a number of changes, obviously some trades. But Gomez was a big part of the reason the Brewers were able to get back into the pennant race last season, as he pops this one up to Ryan Howard for out number 1. Well, the MLB draft today, Rock, and of course we got a question concerning your draft status. Tom in Cudahy wants to know on our carsoup.com email the booth question: when were you drafted and how did you find out?
In 1979, in the June draft, it was the 8th round. I was sitting in my living room back in West Windsor, New Jersey. You know, obviously the college season was done. I had a pretty good idea that I was going to be drafted, but I had no idea who was going to be drafting me, and kind of surprised that the Brewers, you know, picked me up. They called the house and said that I had been picked and I was expected to report to Butte, Montana.
Expected to report?
Yeah, I mean
ASAP.
There was no like dance going on like you know, we want to sign you. We'll have somebody at your house, you know, in the next few days. And they went with the assumptive close. It wasn't like, you know, in the 8th round you're not going to be getting millions of dollars. I mean, no, I think we went back and forth for about 3 or 4 days, and ultimately I agreed to my $15,000 bonus.
Nice, that's a good number.
That's a lot of money for a hick in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
So got that, and we're supposed to be going to the Pan Am Games. You know, and I was all in my my 3-piece suit, ready to go to Philly to meet the team in Miami to start working out. And at that point, I didn't think that you know, the Brewers were going to give me what I wanted, which wasn't a whole lot of money. I mean, relatively speaking. But to me, it was. And so we were getting ready to go to the airport, eating breakfast, sitting at the kitchen table, and got a call from the Brewers and said, "We'll give you what you want. We'll give you your 15 grand, and we want you to report to Butte, Montana."
Nice.
So,
and your leverage was that you were a junior.
I was a junior, and you know, there was no big rush. I was heading back to I was going to play in Alaska that year, the Alaska Gold Panthers in the Alaska Summer League, which is a great college league. A lot of fun.
Francisco draws a walk.
But I said to the gentleman on the phone, I forget who it was. It wasn't, you know, Joe McIlvain or Walter Youst. I forget who it was that called, but said that I'm going to have to call Jack Stallings, who was the coach. He was at Georgia Southern at the time. He was going to be the head guy for that Pan American team. Saying I'm not coming. He said, we already called him. He told me you weren't coming.
They just assumed you were going to sign.
Okay, the assumptive close on their part. So
nice.
A couple of days went by, and I flew and landed into Butte, Montana, and the rest is history. And here I am here.
Here you are, stuck with me. And you mentioned Joe McIlvain, who ended up at your house to do the deal.
Right, right.
And his son, Tim McIlvain, is the one who drafted Scooter Gennett.
Yep.
Back in 2009 in the 16th round.
That was a great day when you're sitting around and you're kind of pacing around waiting to get a call. And how many young men are doing that, you know, today?
Yeah.
I mean, pacing around a couple of days it takes. And I didn't think I was going to be drafted, you know, in the first 3, somewhere in the mid rounds. You know, I thought I'd get drafted, you know, above 10 from what you hear, you know. But great day and a relief, and there was no way I was not going to accept that from the Brewers.
They knew you wanted to play. As Gennett takes a call at strike 3, and down he goes on strikes. First strikeout for Tyler Cloyd. Check the Charter high-speed pitch. Peralta as fast as 97 tonight. Cloyd not a big fastball pitcher. He's topped out at 89. Now the baseball draft is so different than the other sports, the NBA draft or the NFL draft. You know, these are not players for the most part that you're going to see right away. It's going to, you know, it takes a lot to acclimate into the pro game. very few players can make the jump from, you know, high school or amateur ball, college ball to the big leagues. And on the rare occasion, you know, Robin Yount is one of those rare guys that was in the big leagues as a teenager. And Yount was 40 years ago, by the way, 40 years ago this June, 1973, the third overall pick that season out of high school.
He went to the minor leagues for a little bit.
Briefly, yep.
And real briefly. But yeah, there aren't too many to go from high school right to the big league. Matter of fact, there aren't too many to go from college right to the big leagues. Bob Horner did it. Remember Bob Horner?
Yep, that's right. Pete Incaviglia.
Yeah.
So, you know, you hear about these names, you get all the scouting reports and what people think about them, and then it starts the player development side of things. So as Peralta lifts that one in the air to shallow right, Delman Young will put it away, and the side is retired. 3-0 Phillies on our way to the third.
And tonight's time of the game winner, Tina's Summer Inn in Somers, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Great to have you with us on Fox Sports Wisconsin tonight. We'll have 3 of the 4 games in this series. Fox National will have the game on Saturday. 3-0 Phillies. Peralta giving up 2 in the first, couple of infield hits to start the game, and then a single by Rollins. The run scored on a sac fly and a wild pitch, interestingly enough, and then an RBI double by John Mayberry Jr. after Peralta walked the pitcher last inning. So 3 runs on 4 hits. And now the Phillies coming up with Ryan Howard, Dominic Brown, and Delman Young. 3 big sluggers in their order. I had a great moment before the ball game tonight as Johnny Logan was honored tonight in the Miller Park Wall of Honor. Great to see Johnny at the ballpark again, and you know, he's been in ill health, and he's been a great guy to talk to. Got some great stories, and he was ready to tell every one of them before the ball game tonight.
You had to shut him down a little bit, but he did it in a way only you can do it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, good natured, and everybody enjoyed it. But yeah, Johnny Logan, a fixture around these parts. Been around Milwaukee a long time. You know, everybody has a credential. You know, my credential says, you know, my name, your credential has your name.
Yeah.
Johnny Logan's credential has shortstop on it.
Nice. And what a shortstop he was. All-star performer. As Peralta deals a strike to Howard. We were poking some fun at Johnny about the Gillette commercials that he used to do, the razor commercials. It's like he and Joe DiMaggio.
Right.
I mean, the biggest stars of the game, and there's Johnny.
He was feisty, to say the least, as a player, on and off the field. And I had Johnny down at fantasy camp one year. He was a big hit. Didn't have any specific responsibilities. He kind of floated around and had a good time. People loved him.
There's a strikeout for Peralta, his first. Yeah, the great Johnny Logan. He's part of that World Series championship team. The shortstop, Milwaukee Braves, started with the Boston Braves. And I love his approach. Just some of these old film clips of how he used to use right field. And then every now and then he'd flash a little power, wouldn't he?
And number 23. Well, he could pick it, too. Good hands, good arm. Won a World Series. And you can't take that away from anybody that has won a World Series.
That's right.
It's something that we all as players strive to accomplish, and very few get to enjoy.
Dominic Brown with one away. I thought it was a nice touch too. The Phillies during the ceremony, a lot of the Phillies players were up on the top rail. Most of them, they don't know who Johnny Logan is, but they were very respectful and watching some of the ceremony and giving Johnny some applause there. It was a nice deal. As Dominic Brown singles to right and aboard for the second time. And so Logan in the Wall of Honor. Bob Uecker did a great job. Johnny got he was telling story after story. And Bob said, in honor of Johnny Logan, tonight's game has been canceled. It was a nice moment there. And you played with Johnny Logan. They were teammates.
Yeah. Felix Mantilla was down on the field, former Brewer.
Yeah.
Lives here in the Milwaukee area.
I love when Johnny Logan started telling stories about the reverse pitchers he used to face. The reverse pitchers. The left-handers.
Yeah. He now you know where Jim Gantner gets it. Jim Gantner gets credit with a lot of these crazy things that he says, but Johnny Logan right there with him.
Yeah, Logan he's not Yogi Berra, but he's up there. They once asked him who he thought the greatest player ever was, and he says, well, of course, it's the immoral Babe Ruth.
Yep.
There goes the runner. Lucroy's throw to second is not in time. Stolen base. Dominic Brown. Talk about a guy who is owning the game right now in every facet. It's his fifth steal.
Man, not just a power hitter. I mean, pretty good hitter with speed and able to get in there. And Jonathan Lucroy has done that on a number of occasions. Short hop that throw, and sometimes you're better off doing that than risking throwing one high. An infielder has a chance to make a play if it's low, not if it's high.
Brown started then stopped, and Young a swing and a miss.
Man, pretty easy pick for Scooter Gennett, just a little bit late.
That does give you a good look that the way Gennett took that throw. His reputation coming up through the minor leagues, he's a hard-nosed guy. He's a lot like Ricky Weeks in that way where you have to be pretty tough to stand in there with a runner sliding in at you, and Gennett just planted himself right across that bag.
A little bit easier these days when these guys are coming in head first. Not in Johnny Logan's day.
With not just spikes high, but sharpened spikes high.
Right. You stand in front of a base just once.
Right.
Then they stitch you up and you find a different way to take the throw.
Yeah, that was one of the intimidation tactics. Players would be sitting out on the top step of the dugout filing their spikes before a game. And Delman Young draws the walk. So Peralta got a strikeout to start the inning, a single, and now a walk, and just a ton of traffic on the bases against him so far tonight.
It's a lonely feeling out there for a pitcher when you really can't command your breaking pitch, and that seems to be the problem that Willie's having tonight. And then you try and be too fine with a fastball, and then you're falling behind and you're in big trouble. That breaking pitch that was so good for him in his last start against the Phillies just isn't there yet.
Eric Kratz grounded back to the mound in the first inning. He swings away the first pitch. That one's back in the seats. There's just such a difference when Peralta is struggling with that secondary pitch, not just with the results, but just the entire pace of the game, how his body language is on the mound. As Brown takes off, swing and a miss, throw to third, and the tag not in time. Brown steals second and third. As the count goes to 0-2, maybe if the throw is on the proper side of the bag, they get him.
He's on the foul side of the bag, and that one short hopped Ramirez as well. You put it on the other side of the bag, and he's out. Pretty good jump, but a good throw is going to get him. You put that ball on the fair side of third base. A lot of times the third baseman will straddle that bag as well. So Ramirez took the throw and then had to reach back. That slowed everything down too.
So now it's first and third. 0-2 the count on Kratz. And a bouncing ball. Segura shovels to Jeanette. The quick turn, throw to first, not in time, and a run will score. And the stolen bases pay off for the Phillies. 4-0 Philadelphia.
That just wasn't hit hard enough, even for the catcher. I mean, Kratz lumbering down the line, just trying to beat that throw from Jeanette. But Kratz doing all he can just to put that bat on the baseball. And the Brewers doing all they can to turn two, just couldn't.
And that buys Kratz an RBI. Clearly safe. His 20th ribby of the year, and the Phillies have scored in every inning. And now Freddie Galvis with 2 away. And Kratz at first base. Ton of pitches, and it's going to be a short start for Peralta. 75 already. We're still in the third. And it's 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, just really having a tough time with his release point. Arms on top, arm kind of drags to the side once in a while, straightens out.
Galvis takes ball 4. And Ron Renicky is out for a discussion, a motivational discussion for Willie Peralta.
Willie out of the stretch. You can see brings the glove up. You see he's pushing off the pitching rubber with his back leg. He's kind of leaning, not really balancing a whole lot, and maybe that's what's leaving his arm to drag a little bit. A lot of times you want to balance on that back leg. You'll do it more on this out of the windup than you will on the stretch. You try and speed yourself up a little bit when you have a man on base. Sometimes when you speed up too much, everything stays up in the strike zone, and you have no consistency with your release point.
Renicky not pleased, and that was a one-way conversation. First pitch to Cloyd is in there for a strike. And I guess the decision the Brewers have to make, and they think about it all the time with Willie Peralta, is he certainly has some finishing to do as far as pitches go and that secondary pitch. And is it more beneficial to try to do it here as Cloyd hits that one hard to right? Aoki is back, and he's got it for the out. And you wonder if it's best for him to do it up here in the big leagues.
The MLB first-year player draft is underway, and the Brewers will not make a pick in the first round. They forfeited that with the signing of Kyle Loesch, but they will make their first pick of the night just around 9:35. So tonight we're asking Brewers fans on our AT&T Twitter poll to play Doug Melvin for a minute and ask you, what is the most difficult position to draft? Is it a pitcher, a catcher, an infielder, or an outfielder? And BA seeing Craig Counsell down in batting practice today. He said he was happy to just get out of the war room for a minute. He said there was the calm before the storm, and you guys can attest to all of the work that goes into preparing for the draft and now all the decisions that need to be made.
Yep, and it ultimately comes down to that final decision for Doug Melvin. He takes in all the advice, and there's a lot of people that want to be Doug Melvin this time of year, but that's draft day is it's incredible, and we've been fortunate. They've been able to let us in a little bit. We'll have plenty of footage of the draft and what goes on in some of those discussions. But that's one step to the process, and then the other, as soon as a player is drafted, then that becomes the player development stage. Once that player is signed, and then that, those two work hand in hand. You hear that all the time: scouting and player development, scouting and player development. But that's the lifeblood of the game right there. It's how the players end up in the big leagues, and it determines whether you have a successful big league club or not.
Man, such a difficult thing to be able to pick a guy. Just seeing him a couple of times, you don't really have to know what's in his heart. The desire that he has. It's all well and good to know the numbers and crunch the numbers on a college or a high school kid, but you don't know what they have inside. And you don't know that probably until they get into your system and into the minor leagues.
Aoki sends one to right field, and Young will run it down.
It is an art, not a science. As much as you'd like to think you can quantify it, you just can't.
Well, there are some Wisconsin native draft hopefuls. Clark Egan, a big first baseman. And you see some of those names that might emerge as big league players one day. I look at this list and I think about Jordan Zimmerman of the Washington Nationals. And what a star he's turned out to be. He's an ace if there ever was one with the Nationals. And Wisconsin born, big Brewer fan growing up.
Late bloomer though. You know, I mean, it wasn't a sure thing when he was a youngster. Hey, enter the Ultimate Brewers Fan Sweepstakes by making a donation to the Brewers Community Foundation. You could win a Bob Uecker game-worn sweater, plus a meet and greet with you. A trip down Bernie's slide and more. Visit brewers.com/ultimate sweeps for details.
Here's Ryan Braun. 2 outs, nobody on. Now you think about, there is a drafting philosophy. I was talking to Bruce Seid about this a couple of years back, the Brewers amateur scouting director. And there is a notion, and it's been around for a while, it's not new, but you take a pitcher from the northern part of the United States where snow is prevalent and it's definitely a seasonal sport. And if you can find a guy who has a great arm, then a lot of times that pitcher, because they're not throwing as much as down in Texas or California, Florida, Arizona, then you can put him into the system and turn him into a potential big league pitcher. And I think Zimmerman is a perfect example of that. He's from Auburndale, Wisconsin. He went to University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. That's D3, and he's ending up as a 1 or 2. He's probably a strong number 2 pitcher on a major league starting rotation right now.
There's something to be said for that. I mean, you don't have as much wear and tear on the arm if you're, you know, up here in the Midwest or even the Northeast, but you know, kind of unproven. You're not sure what you're going to get. Sometimes you get a diamond in the rough like Zimmerman, and then there's always that argument, high school or college. Probably a little bit more upside with a high school kid, but really not a track record. You know, 4 years or 3 years in college, and you kind of understand that now this guy has a mature arm. He's not going to be as susceptible to an injury. You really don't know that with a high school kid.
Yeah, more risk with high school players. Ryan Braun was drafted out of college at Miami as he rolls one through a base hit. So a single to left to the Brewers with their second hit.
And went down and got that curveball from Tyler Cloyd. Not a bad pitch. It was down in the zone, but Braun covers both sides of the plate extremely well and able to roll that one into left field. Look at this pitch. You know, down and away, he's able to get the bat head out and hook it into left field for a 2-out single.
I'm sure Cloyd's thinking, how in the world did I just give up a hit on that pitch?
Yeah, that's about as good a curveball as I can throw.
Well, we'll see if Ramirez can give the Brewers a quick strike here. Down 4-0 as we play in the bottom of the third. Ramirez walked his last time up. Ball and a strike on Ramirez. Braun at first with great speed. One of the other big challenges for Milwaukee lately, because of the starting pitching, the way it has gone and the early deficits, a big part of the Brewers game is their running game. And they have not been able to implement the running game. You're not going to try to steal bases down 4-0 this early in a game. That's how the Brewers generate a lot of their offense. And That has not been available to Ron Renicky and those that like to steal bases. So you feel like as a player, and that's part of your game, guys like Segura and Gomez and Braun, that takes a part of your game away.
It shouldn't, though. I mean, if that's the way you score runs and that's your game, I mean, yeah, if you're a base stealing team and you're able to make it, take off. And the guys that can steal bases, they do steal bases, even down 3-4 runs. But you don't want to be making outs on the bases when you're down, particularly early.
Tyler Cloyd throwing a lot of fastballs, 81%. And Ramirez sends that one deep center. Not deep enough as Mayberry runs it down. And the side is retired, and Cloyd has 3 shutout on the board. Supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin, by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more, and by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Downtown Milwaukee, and a few miles from there, we are at Miller Park, under the lights and the closed roof of Miller Park on a cool June night. 4-0 Phillies as we play in the 4th inning. Willie Peralta back at the top of the order. Michael Young leading off. 80 pitches for Peralta. And a grind him out kind of outing as Young slaps one to right field, and more base runners for the Phils. Well, don't forget, we have the first 2 games of this series on Fox Sports Wisconsin, and then Fox will take over. Fox National Baseball Night in America. Game 3, Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And Tom Gorzolani is going to get the start. He'll match up against Kyle Kendrick. I would imagine Gorzolani would be out there for 50 to 60 pitches. Kyle Kendrick is 6-3 this year with a 3.12 ERA for the Phillies. He's had a nice year. John Mayberry Jr. with 2 hits tonight. Phillies are playing good ball right now. They've won 4 in a row since their Sunday win against Milwaukee. Brewers won the first 2 games of that series in Philadelphia, which was the Brewers' first series win since late April, and their first road series win since mid-April when they took 2 out of 3 against the Padres.
That was a heck of a game, or at least a heck of a comeback by Milwaukee on Sunday, down 7-0 to Cliff Lee. And they came roaring all the way back, had the tying run at second base when that game ended. Brewers get another crack at Cliff Lee.
Yep, Cliff Lee will be on the mound tomorrow against Figueroa. Slow roller out to Ramirez. Took a big hop, and they just do get Young at second base. Well, that ball was spring loaded on its way to Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah, good hands, able to make the adjustment and get a good throw over to Jeanette, because Michael Young was flying down to second base. Little top spin, and as it hits the second time, it kind of picks up speed. And just able to get Young at second base.
I think he caught that one, or at least stopped it with his bare hand. It was either going to be his hand or his chin. Either way. Resourceful Aramis Ramirez.
Whatever it takes.
Yep. There's Jimmy Rollins now. He takes a ball. Yeah, that second hop.
That ball came up on him. He had the fingers out, fingers up. Should have had the fingers down. It would have been an easier play.
Rollins into right center. Aoki playing deep, cuts across, makes a catch. Out number 2.
John Mayberry Jr. doesn't look much like his dad. Yeah, both of them pretty tall, but John Mayberry Sr., big man, left-handed hitter. Tremendous first baseman with the Royals.
Junior's got the speed game and a center fielder. The shift is on for Ryan Howard. Jeanette out in the grass. And oh, look at Francisco bring one back. Ryan Howard lines out to Juan Francisco, and the inning is over, and the first scoreless inning of the night for Willie Peralta. Good stab, Juan.
Trail the Phillies by 4, and I'm joined by a very special guest out here in left field. Is Greg Von Rieten, who has had a great day today. He had a chance to come down, get to batting practice, meet Ryan Braun. You also met Jonathan Lucroy, right?
Yes, I did.
Greg is 15 years old. He was diagnosed with bone cancer a year ago. He's here celebrating his 15th birthday, which was a couple days ago, and that's a pretty cool birthday gift, right?
It is.
What's been the best part of your day?
Just getting down and meeting everyone.
Well, I'm going to let you do my job, and you can just say, hey, back up to you, Brian and Bill. How about that?
What?
Just say back up to Brian and Bill.
Back up to Brian and Bill.
There it is.
All right, great. Yeah, it's good to see the family there before the ball game, and Luke Croy getting a chance to spend some time with him. And they have all the shirts on for Greg, and man, he's been a battler, and great to see him here at Miller Park. You know, Childhood Cancer Month is in September, and gold in September is a big deal, and we're wishing him the best, and hopefully he enjoys his night as Gomez sends that one deep to center field. And Mayberry's right there for the out. 2 up and 2 down. And Greg and all his friends and family hanging out.
Yep, good to have the support out there, and the Brewers doing their part.
They're in home run territory tonight, Rock. They got a chance to catch a home run in that spot. That's the prime home run territory in left field.
Brewers need a couple or more up there tonight.
Here's Juan Francisco now. 2 outs in the inning. Francisco acquired from the Braves before this homestand began. Still hitless as a Brewer. Did walk his last time up. He's 0 for 5. And his 3rd consecutive start. He and Jeanette have been in the starting lineup with the right-handed starting pitchers on the mound. You figure it'll be Betancourt and Ricky Weeks tomorrow with Cliff Lee on the mound. Francisco started his season with the Braves. Traded from the Reds to the Braves prior to last year. The Braves had Chipper Jones at third base, knew that they were going to need some insurance at third. He wasn't going to be able to play every day. And coming to the end of his career, they made the move, giving up a pitcher named J.J. Hoover for Francisco. And he swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. 3 up, 3 down for Tyler Cloyd. 4 shutout innings. He's working on a 2-hitter. And the Phillies lead 4-0. Which recent draft class has been the most successful in your opinion? Virginia and South Milwaukee wants to know. And I think looking at Ryan Braun,
05.
I think you start thinking about the 05 draft, and man, what a draft that was. Justin Upton was the 1st overall pick that year. And then it was Alex Gordon, Jeff Clement, Ryan Zimmerman went 4th that year. And then Braun was number 5. But look at the names on the list, and we'll put that back up for you. But
a lot of stars.
Dominic Brown sends Aoki back to the fence to make the play for the out. Sounded like he broke his bat. Flies out to the wall.
Andrew McCutcheon on that list. Jay Bruce, Cameron Maben. Yeah, that's a heck of a draft year.
And if you keep going, we don't have enough space on this graphic, but Jacoby Ellsbury was a late first rounder.
Matt Garza.
Yep, Matt Garza. Colby Rasmus.
Yeah, it's I don't think you're going to see a draft like that again. Who knows? Maybe this year, right?
Jack Zarenzik was the scouting director at the time, and he always told great stories about, you talk about the war room discussion with Braun. There was some discussion about Troy Tulowitzki, and who is going to go is Delman Young deep to center field. Gomez at the wall. He leaps up, and it's out. And the Phillies just keep pouring it on here as Delman Young pops his 6th home run of the season. And he makes it 5-0. Second time on base, first hit of the night for Young. Well, that was a mile high.
Yes, it was.
Gomez
not out by much. Looked like Carlos didn't time his leap like he would have liked. Wouldn't have mattered though.
There's Eric Kratz now with one away. You just wonder, you know, when they're making all those picks in 2005, nobody could have imagined how many successful big league players. John Mayberry was in that draft, by the way, the Philadelphia center fielder. Not just, you know, I think when you draft a guy and he makes it to the big leagues, that's a huge success for the scout who drafted him and for the organization when they get him to the big leagues. But we're talking impact, faces of the franchise type players.
Right.
Zimmerman, Ryan Zimmerman was the first of that group to make it to the big leagues. College player. Kratz bounces to Ramirez. And there's out number 2.
Andrew McCutcheon, as we mentioned in that draft, the Pirates picked him.
Yeah, look how many faces of the franchise there are.
Right.
You know, Upton, you could have called him. You could call him that in Arizona, and he's now with the Braves, but he's that guy. Zimmerman with the Nationals. Braun. You got Tulowitzki with the Rockies.
Pelfrey.
McCutcheon. Big stars. Now, from what I'm hearing and talking to Bruce Side and some of the Brewers amateur scouts, that this group this year, this draft group, they feel very good about. Feel like it's a deep draft this season, and the Brewers are feeling like they're going to get a pretty good pick with the number 54 pick, which is coming up in about 45 minutes.
5. Let's take a look at our Brewers minor league report. A couple of guys heading to the Midwest League All-Star game. That will be Ryan Gibbard and Damian Magnifico. Magnifico was a 5th-round pick in the 2012 draft. Speaking of all this draft talk tonight, of course, the MLB amateur draft is tonight. And Gibbard was a 14th-round pick by the Brewers in 2012. And speaking of All-Stars, they're heading to the Midwest League All-Star game. Here are a couple of guys that we're trying to get to New York and Citi Field for this year's All-Star game. Gene Segura, Carlos Gomez, and of course Ryan Braun. Make sure you vote for them as many times as you possibly can. 35 times each email account, so make sure you vote Brewers and get those guys to Citi Field in New York for this year's All-Star game. Brian?
All right, thanks a lot, Telly. As Scooter Gennett flies out on the first out here of the 5th inning for Cloyd. And it's going to be Logan Schaefer to pinch hit. Donovan Hand will be next on the mound. So Willie Peralta goes 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, and another frustrating day at the ballpark for Peralta.
And that's the thing. I mean, consistency for Willie Peralta. He has shades of brilliance like his last start, and very inconsistent tonight. Just couldn't find a breaking pitch.
Schaefer drops a bunt down. Cloyd makes a nice play for the out.
But those are the kind of things that you have to go through and deal with a young pitcher that has a lot of ability. Like Peralta, he's got all the stuff. He just has to be able to control it and run it out there. About 3 out of every 4 starts right now. Being inconsistent with all of his pitches.
Nori Aoki now with 2 away. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Tyler Cloyd in this inning.
And Cloyd's pitch count's in real good shape. 64 right now.
Well, Nori Aoki surpassed a milestone yesterday, and he recorded his 1,500th hit of his pro career between Japan and the major leagues. So if you throw all those numbers together like Mike Vasallo did as Aoki draws the walk, Nori Aoki is a career 323 hitter and has 1,501 hits. He had 329 in Japan. He had 291 for the Brewers last year in this. Bottom line, he can hit.
Yeah, and he makes contact. We were talking about that earlier. Doesn't strike out hardly ever. Put the ball in play, you give yourself a chance to get a base hit. Think about Nori. I mean, he can look so bad on a couple of pitches. I mean, really just waving at pitches and all off balance, but then he'll have a little bit of a meeting with himself, and then he'll hit a bullet into left field off somebody.
Expert batsman is the best way to describe him. Controls the bat. He fouls pitches off. He's gotten hits in some of the most unusual swings you'll ever see.
Yeah.
It was one time, one moment this year, he got a hit, and we stopped the frame at the impact of the baseball with a bat, and both feet were off the ground.
Yeah, you don't get much power that way, but remember Hal Morris used to actually move his feet as he swung the bat.
Right.
He didn't hit many home runs, but that's about as close as you get to what Aoki does once in a while. With all that movement, from Aoki, and the way he seems to be, in a lot of motion as he's swinging the bat, it is amazing how much contact he's able to make. Goes against all conventional, baseball, philosophy up there at the plate, but his hand-eye coordination is extraordinary.
Out to Jimmy Rollins. Flips it to Galvis to retire the side. 5-0 Phillies. 5 in the books. On July 16th, only on Fox. And at the first update, Ryan Braun sitting third among outfielders. Bryce Harper is currently injured, his all-star status in jeopardy. And Justin Upton is the leading vote getter among the outfielders. These are the top vote getters at their positions. You got a couple of Reds in there and 2 Giants, Sandoval and Buster Posey. Yeah, Harper, discouraging news. Apparently he is off for an appointment with Dr. Andrews in Birmingham, which is never a good sign. No. So potential surgery there for Bryce Harper. There's Donovan Hand. He is on the pitch after Peralta goes 5 innings, give up 5 earned runs. And the Brewers in a 5-0 hole here as we go to the 6th.
Yeah, last pitched on Monday against the Oakland A's. You know, pitched 3 innings. Really did a nice job for Ron Renicky in that ball game. 1 earned run in his 5th appearance here tonight.
There's a strike to Tyler Cloyd, who's rolling along here, working on a 2-hit shutout. Not much going right for the Brewers over the last couple of games. Still time yet in this one. Hey, by the way, we want to wish a special happy wedding anniversary to the Brewers official scorer Tim O'Driscoll. He and his wife Carol celebrating their 43rd wedding anniversary.
Wow. That Carol must be a saint.
Man.
How many baseball games has she had to endure?
Yeah, because Tim, a legendary high school baseball coach at Arrowhead, and a fine official scorer.
And a nice man, too.
Yep, he's one of the real good guys. Seen a lot of baseball, and he's avoided a lot of foul balls, as you can see right behind his head. You got to be on your toes in that spot.
Yeah, he's a legend out there in the Lake Country.
At the field named after him at Arrowhead High School in Heartland. Tim O'Driscoll Field. Cloyd bounces one to Segura. One gone for Hand in the 6th.
So Carroll only has to endure another 20 years of baseball. You know, I'm sure that Tim will be here for a long time.
Yeah. He's not planning on going anywhere.
No, he's a good official scorer too. I mean, he's fair. He gets it right.
Interesting factoid: 5th player from the 14th round of the 07 draft to make it to the majors.
You No, Tim O'Driscoll was the official scorer at County Stadium when I played.
You ever take any hits away from you?
Oh, yeah, all the time. He's softened up quite a bit over the years.
You could have hit 330 had you been in the current Tim O'Driscoll era. You're saying
Tim O'Driscoll was, scored like a lot of the official scorers do, when we're on the road.
Yes.
I mean, I might have hit as high as 245. No, but he does a good job. I mean, he plays it straight, and hit's a hit with Tim.
One of the things he does, and this is not that we're going through an official score lesson here. That's a very hard job, by the way. There's a lot of pressure in that job, but he'll follow it through. He'll talk to the managers. He'll talk to the umpires. He'll, if there's a questionable call, he will do his due diligence after the game. A lot of guys don't do that.
That's what they all should do. See a lot of homerism, on the road when the Brewers are in certain cities.
See that ball mark in the drywall behind his head. There are ball marks all through that press box. Right? That looks like an Alcides Escobar in '09.
That wasn't a player that was robbed of a hit.
He did have a pretty good arm. Escobar
ducked him.
We don't have any of those here in our booth. We're more directly behind home plate. So
right.
You got to be kind of off to one side. We don't get many foul balls up here. Every now and then, Rock will make his mad dash under the table.
Yeah, I know better. I'm no hero.
There we are.
Here are we, right here, right next to you.
And Joe Block.
And Joe Block.
And
that's
Kent
right.
Sommerfeld.
Kent Sommerfeld. I forgot about those guys.
Speaking of foul balls and Kent Sommerfeld, those are two things that go together like a magnet.
Old Tiger Stadium.
There he is,
and
hard at work.
That's ordinarily what happens. He's got his face in his computer, keeping the guys down. You can block up to date on scores and things like that. What's going on? Remember Old Tiger Stadium, how close the press box and the broadcast positions were behind home plate.
Oh, Jeanette knocks it down, but it pops out of his glove, and that'll be a base hit for Michael Young.
Ken had his head down at Tiger Stadium one time. Ball came right into the booth, right in the forehead. He was all right.
Oh, can't hurt that guy.
No.
He's a borderline android. Kent Sommerfeld.
I actually got drilled in Tiger Stadium. I've told that story before, right in the shoulder. But not here. We got some time to react. And Jeanette almost making a nice play up there up the middle. We've seen him range a long way up the middle tonight.
Here's John Mayberry Jr. Takes a strike. Texas drafted John Mayberry Jr. in '05, 19th pick, and then he was traded to the Phillies. In the air to left, not very well hit. Braun is there for out number 2. Well, if you're just picking us up, the MLB draft is going on. Mark Appel was the first pick tonight. You want to know who the others are to make it to the big leagues?
Cut left-hander. James Russell. He's still in the big leagues.
Good list to be on. Any list you can be on when your draft position says Major League Baseball. That's a good one. And Donovan Hand, 7 years in the minor leagues before he finally got his chance this season. Astros had the first pick tonight. Mark Appel from Stanford. Cubs took third baseman Chris Bryant out of the University of San Diego. A little bit of a surprise there. And that left Jonathan Gray of Oklahoma to go to the Rockies. That was the one guy, the big right-hander from Oklahoma, that many thought would go first to the Astros. But they took a chance on Appel, whose family's from Houston, and he lived in Houston until I think he was 12 years old. He has Houston ties. Brewers do not pick until number 54.
They're around 30 right now.
Yeah,
31, 32.
Yep, 31.
Got a ways to go.
Broken bat, little flare. Segura makes the catch to end the inning. Scoreless inning for Donovan Hand. Brewers coming to bat, down 5-0.
Of the 6th inning, enter the Ultimate Brewers Fan Sweepstakes by making a donation to Brewers Community Foundation. You're doing a Bob Uecker game-worn sweater, plus a meet and greet with Uecker, a trip down Bernie's slide, and more. Visit brewers.com/ultimate sweeps for details.
Brian Braun ready to lead off for the Brewers as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Braun, Ramirez, and Lucroy. Tyler Cloyd working on a 2-hitter right now. Braun has one of those hits, had a single in the 3rd. The other was a Segura single, which came in the 1st inning. Powerball home run leaderboard. Gomez with 10 home runs. Brewers aren't hitting home runs at the pace they were last year. They led the league in home runs last season.
And currently 8th in the National League in home runs. Phillies are 4th. The Atlanta Braves lead the National League in home runs. And that's a bit of a surprise to me. That's not a very easy ballpark to hit homers.
Justin Upton has done a lot of the heavy lifting there. He has 14 of those.
Atlanta has 81 home runs coming into play tonight.
Upton and Evan Gattis. Who saw that coming?
Right.
Gattis has 13. I think a lot of the Brewers home run deficiencies, if you want to call it that, they're middle of the pack. But Braun's had the thumb injury. Ramirez missed a month, and Corey Hart is still on the disabled list. Right. Those are your 3 best home run hitters from a year ago, and Braun has 9, but Ramirez has just 3 home runs this season. It's just been that kind of year on every front.
Yep. This can't have a consistent, sustained attack offensively or on the mound.
But I've said it before, and you know it's going to happen again. At some point, someone's going to emerge out of this troubling season for the Brewers. That's the way it goes in the game. We saw it from Segura last year. Somebody's going to get an opportunity, and if I'm in the minor leagues right now with the Brewers, and especially on the mound as a starting pitcher, you figure you're going to get a shot at some point if you're in the upper levels and if you have success in the minor leagues. And who knows, maybe we'll have a star emerge.
Yeah, you never know. Yep. Cloyd has certainly stepped up. He's throwing well tonight.
Interesting that he has walked 4, but he has spaced them out. Matter of fact, the only time the Brewers had multiple base runners was the first, after he walked Ramirez with Segura on first base with a single. So after all of that, 4 walks and 2 hits, the Brewers only once tonight have had a runner in scoring position.
Man, that was the first inning.
Five to nothing Phillies. They got 2 in the first, solo runs in the second, third, and 5th inning. Delman Young has the home run tonight, the lone homer. Came in the 5th. A ball and 2 strikes on Ramirez. And a line drive to left, base hit. Boy, what a pizza hitting that was. Ramos Ramirez is aboard. 2 on now for the Brewers, and finally something cooking here with nobody out.
Yeah, same pitch that Braun was able to bounce into left field in the 3rd inning, curveball. Ramos able to wait back and hit it hard into left field. This one inside, and Ramirez able to go down and get it. Look at the way he just bends the legs and levels that bat out on a pitch down in the zone and hits a line drive into left. What you call making an adjustment within a swing.
Meeting at the mound. Jimmy Rollins conducting this one. That might be about the signals. So here's Lucroy now. Lucroy's been able to raise his batting average significantly. Currently hitting .256. And he had a modest little 5-game hit streak going when he got to Philadelphia last Friday, but he had just 5 hits in those 5 games. And then had a 5-hit night against the Phillies. He was a triple away from the cycle last Friday. Hit 2 homers. Lucroy's been able to raise his batting average from .208 to .256 in the span of 14 games plus his 2 at-bats tonight.
A 5-hit game will do that for you.
And Lucroy pops it up. Frustrated, he flips the bat, and infield fly rule called. Kratz makes the catch. First out of the inning. 2 men still aboard. DeFreitas and Horst, the left-hander, loosening for the Phillies. So 1 out, runners at first and second, and here is Carlos Gomez. Now, if the Brewers are going to fight their way back, this feels like an inning. They need to put something across the pay station. Brewers need someone to give them a spark.
This is the guy that's been doing it quite a bit. Having a tremendous season. Certainly deserving of the All-Star team.
He's one of those under the radar names across the big leagues outside of Milwaukee, but I don't think the fan voting is going to go his way unless Brewers fans can overwhelm the ballot box, which has happened before.
Right. Milwaukee fans have been are renowned for that.
Gomez has certainly done enough, and now it's sustained success over the first 2 months of the season.
Yep, one of 4 major leaguers to have at least 10 stolen bases and 10 home runs. Mike Trout over in the American League, Carlos Gonzalez with the Rockies, and Dexter Fowler.
2 Rockies, huh?
Pretty good list.
Fowler's having a nice year. Gomez, right center field. On the run is Delman Young, and he's got it for the out. Braun will tag. Young caught that ball sideways. He almost was turned facing the wall. It was a very strange way to play that slicing fly ball.
Yeah, he's able to make the catch. He's not known for his tremendous defense. Not a Gold Glover, but he's able to make the catch. Feeling for that fence. Brings it in. Kind of drifts back on that baseball. And Ryan Braun able to tag and go to third base.
Young dropped one very similar to that in Philadelphia on a Gene Segura fly ball. Ended up as a triple. Kind of gets his body turned a little bit. All right, 2 outs. Here is Juan Francisco.
Good time for number 1 for the Brewers. First homer. Like to see him get a hold of one.
Still looking for his first hit.
He can hit some monster shots.
Well, his batting practice is fun to watch. It's amazing how much power he generates. The ball gets small quickly, as they say.
Yep.
Cloyd's done a good job with Francisco tonight. They've really crowded him inside. And he's been anxious to swing. He's pulled a couple down the right field line in the bleachers. Pitch number 91 coming for Cloyd. And Francisco got jammed. So the Brewers with 2 on to start the inning, and they come up empty. 5-0 Phillies. Wisconsin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Quiznos, the new chicken fajita sub, only at Quiznos.
Very nice.
Beautiful downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Grinding its way towards summer.
Supposed to clear up tomorrow. It's going to be nice. Sun's out.
That's where it starts. Sun's out, guns out, Rock.
Really?
Going to get the guns out tomorrow?
Oh, you mean the muscles?
Yeah, the muscles.
Okay.
Showing off the...
Not at my house.
No?
No.
Donovan Hand.
A long time ago.
Some pretty cool Brewer baseball cards of Bill Schroeder with the guns out.
I did have some pipes back in the day. They're gone.
Like the reverse pipe.
Right.
Like Bugs Bunny.
Pipes have gone to the stomach.
It's tight. Quickly 0-2 on Howard.
It's too bad the way that goes.
I've been impressed. You set a goal to lose a lot of weight, get in shape during the season. You've been able to do that, which is not easy.
Yeah.
And there's a swing and a miss. Donovan Hand. The slow breaking ball strikes out Ryan Howard.
Yep, 67 miles an hour, and Hand normally goes with the synchronous slider, but every now and again he'll break that pitch out, and he has not made a mistake with it in the times that we've seen it. 67 miles an hour, and I think gravity pulls this one down. And Ryan Howard way out in front, over the top.
And why not? Comes right back to it. Dominic Brown.
How many can you throw, right? Why not? This guy's hitting everything else.
That is the truth. 1 for 2 tonight. Had a single, 2 stolen bases, which led to a run. And he goes with another one. Did he go? Yes, he did. Says Brian Knight. Unable to check his swing. Dominic Brown. 0-2 now. Will we see another one?
Bounce it in front of home plate here.
Tried the slider.
Yeah.
Good story today in the USA Today. Our buddy Bob Nightingale concerning Dominic Brown and prospects that come up to the big leagues, struggle. A lot of teams give up on those prospects. The Phillies did not give up on Brown after he was up and down for 3 years, and they are reaping the rewards of that this year. There's the slow curve, and Brown makes the adjustment for a base hit.
He's on everything right now.
Well, what a hitter this year. He's looking like an MVP this season.
Yep. Hey, fans, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the Atlanta Braves Friday, June 21st through Sunday the 23rd. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Well, that's a ways away. Brewers have a 12-game road trip coming up after Sunday. 12 days, 10 games. That's a long one. I think that's a 3-suitcase trip.
Might be. Or maybe some repurposing going on, perhaps.
Well, there's no doubling up. We're going to Miami and Houston.
There was Cincinnati in between.
Yeah, well, we're talking like big heat in Miami and Houston. Two suitcases and a hang-up bag, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a self-addressed box that you can return the
send it home if they'll accept it.
Got a little tropical storm brewing in Miami, which is not looking all that encouraging.
No. That's the longest trip of the year. 12 days.
3 cities, a couple of off days on the road. And I think it's going to be our last trip to Houston for a while. Now that they're in the American League West interleague matchup in Houston, we'll be using a designated hitter in Houston.
Yeah.
Seems odd.
It's actually an 11-day trip, not 12. 9 games in 11 days, 2 off days on the road.
I know what you meant, though, because we're leaving after the game Sunday.
Right. Nice. 11.5 days.
Just enough time for your dog to forget who you are. Start growling at you when you get home. Intruder alert.
But again, he loves it when I open that suitcase.
Nasty dog.
Yeah.
And looking for a ground ball here. Delman Young in a 1-1 count. And a throw to first.
Well, 5-0. Still, possible to steal bases. I mean, it's certainly not a big enough lead to eliminate the running game if you're Philadelphia. And Brown already has 2 stolen bases tonight.
And keeps checking on him. I wonder how many puns Donovan Hand has endured over his years in athletics.
Right.
You got to hand it to him. He's probably had a handful of them. On the other hand, if you bite the hand that feeds you.
Although he's a pretty big guy, I'd imagine that people don't go overboard with him.
Until tonight.
He can stare you down, I would imagine, say knock it off. He's probably thinking that right now. I know I am.
Bouncing ball to third. Ramirez to second for 1. Jeanette the turn. And a double play. And Donovan Hand says talk to the hand. 5-4-3. The Brewers turn 2. 5-0 Phillies. See if the Brewers can put together some offense here as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning.
Lead over the Brewers. The first-year player draft is underway. The Brewers are just minutes away from making their 54th overall pick in the 2nd round. They're due up around 9:35, so we'll bring you that pick as they get it. But tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we asked fans to play the general manager and ask what is the most difficult position to draft. 55% of fans said it was a pitcher, and BA, that leads to some big Brewers anniversaries. It was 30 years ago the Brewers drafted pitcher Dan Plesac, and it was 40 years ago that the Brewers drafted Robin Yount with the 3rd overall pick.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Anniversaries. Robin Yount, preceded by David Clyde and John Stearns. Ben Revere will take over in center field. Scooter Gennett leads off, and Charlie Manuel moves Mayberry over to right. Delman Young out of the game. Meanwhile, Tyler Cloyd is back on the mound with a 3-hit shutout through the first 6 innings.
Remember David Clyde? He was the guy that got drafted and right to the big leagues and never really had a whole lot of success. That was the reason why, you know, organizations send their guys down to the minor leagues, get some season, learn how to pitch, learn how to be a professional. That's why I don't want to rush these guys. Ron Stearns a pretty good catcher in his day. He was a Brewers coach for a while.
Yount was 3rd that year behind those two, and then the next pick, 4th overall in '73, Dave Winfield. So the 3 and the 4 picks that year ended up being Hall of Famers. Dave Winfield was not only drafted in Major League Baseball, but drafted in the NFL and the NBA. And the ABA.
Yeah. Pretty good athlete, wouldn't you say? I played, Dave Winfield was a teammate of mine in Anaheim. He was a guy that commanded a lot of respect, and boy, you talk about a presence. When he walked into a room, I mean, everybody, he kind of took over.
Betancourt pinch hitting, down in the count 0-2. I was curious to find out how many minor league games Robin Yount played. As a 17-year-old in '73, played in 64 minor league games. That's it. That was the only year he played the minor leagues.
Yeah.
64 minor league games.
New York Penn League, right?
Yep. And in '74, the next season, he was in the big leagues at 18 and never looked back. Ten seasons after he was drafted, he was the MVP of the American League. Paul Molitor was also a number 3 overall pick. That was in '77. The picks ahead of him, Harold Baines of the White Sox and Bill Gullickson ahead of Paul Molitor.
Yeah, the things that I remember most about my major league career is watching Molitor and Yount on a daily basis. Incredible, both of them.
Drafted 4 years apart. Molitor was a college player, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, the Golden Gophers were in the College World Series in '76, same year that I was there with Clemson. Molitor was playing shortstop.
Betancourt down the line, foul. Now Winfield was a Golden Gopher as well. We just had a chance to catch up with Paul Molitor in Minneapolis. Still working for the Twins. He was hanging out with his son, his 6-year-old. Betancourt pops it up. Foul territory. Going to be close. And that one's off the dugout. And another swing for Betancourt. Well, a base hit here. He turned it over to the top of the lineup. Brewers had 2 on to start the inning last inning. First and second, nobody out, but 3 outs in the air. Pitch number 104 for Cloyd, and Betancourt spoils another one. Pinch hitting in the pitcher spot, Uni Betancourt, after Hand goes 2 scoreless. Ouch. Ball boy wearing one on the shin. Shin burger. That's going to leave a mark.
He's not limping though.
Don't rub it. Do not rub it. He's got it. Made a fan. Bouncing ball to third. Michael Young to Galvis, and the turn. Double play for the Phillies. Goes 5-4-3.
How often do you see an 11 pitch at bat and it's a 1-2 count?
Good point.
All fastballs. And on pitch number 11, a 5-4-3 double play.
So 2 outs, nobody on, and here's Nori Aoki. Cloyd skips it in. Cloyd's spot due up third in the 8th, and most certainly his last inning. Could be his last hitter. Even if Aoki reaches, you might see Manuel go to the bullpen. We'll see. And we will find out as Aoki singles to right, a base hit.
I think Charlie Manuel's coming out and going to make a pitching change, but a nice start for Tyler Cloyd. 4 hits in 6 2/3, and he will lead with a 5-0 lead.
So a pitching change. Cloyd is out. Shutout intact with a man at first. We'll take a break. Chance to win this one here tonight. And he will give way to his bullpen in the 7th. Justin DeFreitas is on to work. 2 outs and a runner at first that still belongs to Cloyd.
He got called up on May 10th, and actually the transaction that brought him up, Tyler Cloyd got sent down early in the season. Well, they're both here now, and DeFreitas trying to hold the lead for Cloyd. 11th appearance, a .235 earned run average, has not allowed a home run.
And he'll face Gene Segura. Segura's 1 out of 3. Singled in the first. Batting average at .339, which is good enough for 4th in the league. 1 for 4 yesterday. Brewers scored just 1 run yesterday against the A's. And being shut out tonight on a 4-hitter.
Brewers had 9 base runners against Cloyd, 4 hits and 5 walks. not able to score.
Brewers had a great comeback on Tuesday, down 3-0 going into the 8th inning. Scored 3 in the 8th to tie it. Segura had the big hit Tuesday night, 2 RBI triple, and then they wanted an extra innings. Segura swings and misses, 2-2. Brewers scored just 2 runs in the opener of this homestand. Those 4 late runs, and they beat the A's in 10 innings. 1 run yesterday and 0 tonight. So the offense has had its problems as well. Slow roller, going to be a tough play. Galvis fires in time. Well, he really closed the gap, and he makes it look easy. And the Freitas is out of the inning. The Brewers still down 5-0. Summary brought to you by Toyota. Phillies got off to a fast start. John Mayberry Jr. has a couple of hits, has a double. He has scored a run. Delman Young hit a home run for the Phillies in the 5th. That was their 5th run. Donovan Hand giving the Brewers 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. Willie Peralta went 5, gave up 5 runs. And it's 5-0 Philadelphia as we go to the 8th. It's going to be Bert Badenhop now to pitch for Milwaukee. Got the bottom of the Phillies order coming up.
351 Badenhop's earned run average in appearance number 30. Badenhop gave up 3 runs in an inning of work against the Oakland A's on Monday.
So Badenhop will face Eric Kratz. The Philly catcher has an RBI tonight. He drove in a run on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. 0 for 3. Phillies are hoping to get Carlos Ruiz back in a couple of weeks. Plan is right now, at least the last report, was that Ruiz would go on a minor league rehab after this series in Milwaukee. And you figure it'll take him about a week to get back. That'll be the same schedule for Corey Hart at some point. Corey is still with the club and not ready to go on a minor league rehab yet. That right knee just not responding well.
Yeah, Brewers are hoping to have him back by now, but it's been slow for Corey. He's been able to do some things out on the field, but just not able to really go 100%.
And during spring training, Hart was coming along so well, he thought he would be back and made the prediction to be back by early May. And here we are in early June, and he's still not close. He had a very tough knee surgery. Not just a routine procedure this time around. He's had a couple of surgeries on the knee, and he's frustrated, trying to keep his spirits up, but that can be a long, lonely road in the rehab room. Kratz bounces one to Segura. And there is the first out for Badenhop. Well, our shining moment tonight, not a whole lot to choose from, but we got one for you, brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. How about we take you around the horn? Ramirez to Jeanette, standing in there tough.
Yes, he does. He doesn't mess around. Reminds you a lot of Jim Gantner. Uses second base as somewhat of a shield. Stands right in there and makes a good throw to first.
Using your knees as an asset. And that's a pretty good guy to be compared to, Jim Gantner.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Scooter Jeanette, and he's just getting here to the big leagues this week. Made his major league debut Monday. And Jim Gantner is always present. He's here in uniform before every game. Today, Johnny Logan comes out. Great Milwaukee Brave. I mean, think about the legacy of infielders that are present for a guy like Scooter Jeanette. Just to look at some of those old images of Johnny Logan.
And you got to have the toughness at second base. I mean, a lot of your plays at second are blind. You can't see the runner coming at you on a play from the third baseman or shortstop. And Ricky Weeks has that toughness as well. You got to stick right in there and take a shot once in a while.
Two quick outs for Badenhop. Well, right now on FoxSportsWisconsin.com, Brewers draft coverage is available. Brewers have not drafted just yet, but they will. Packers kicking competition and the WIAA State softball live stream. Here's Lance Nix, the former Brewer.
I always remember Jim Gantner as he's every now and again, you know, you're a catcher, you might be an outfielder, you take some ground balls over at second base. You kind of play around during batting practice and turn some double plays. And Gantner always referred to the baseball when he wanted the infielder, the shortstop or third baseman to get it to him. Get me the weapon early. He called it the weapon. And that's how you slow a guy down in coming at you at second base. You drop that arm. You throw it right at him, and you'd be amazed how quick a runner will get down on the ground when he sees that ball coming at you.
That's a good one. I've never heard that.
Give me the weapon. Get it to me early.
And then once you throw the baseball as a second baseman, then you're the one who can inflict the damage.
Right.
Knees, elbows, arms.
Sometimes a runner will take a late slide to try and, mess up your throwing lane a little bit. That only happens once.
It's a broken bat. Scooter Jeanette.
Get one between the eyes and you get down next time.
3 ground ball outs for Badenhop. Bottom of the 8th. 5-0 Phillies.
inning right now. For the most part, offensively, the Brewers in this game have been shut down by the Phillies starter Tyler Cloyd, and opportunities to score few and far between for Milwaukee. Kind of the same thing that's been developing with this team. They just can't shake it and get going offensively to help their pitcher out.
No, they haven't. They haven't been able to do it. They haven't been consistent. They're looking for that consistency. They don't have it. Not much offense going on tonight.
Yeah, the consistency for Peralta continues to be very sporadic at best as well. A lot of pitches for Willie Peralta. We're going to break it down all on Brewers Live postgame. Also hit the draft as well. And Augie's going to make an appearance with former Brewer Mike Felder, and the instructional tonight taking a lead off. So we'll take a look at all of that coming up after the ball game. Full coverage on Brewers Live. BA.
All right, thanks, Craig. Always find that entertaining. That little bat flip by Rock as he almost wipes out Davey Nelson right there. That was beautiful. At the plate, presented by Wendy's, Ryan Braun with one of the 4 hits tonight. Mike Adams is on to pitch for the Phillies. And he'll face the middle of the order, Braun, Ramirez, and Lucroy.
Yeah, the numbers for Mike Adams, the former Brewer. 23rd appearance, a .366 earned run average. And he's given up 5 home runs, 2 of them to Jonathan Lucroy.
And Braun takes it low. Adams has really reinvented himself after leaving the Brewers. He finally got healthy. Became one of the great setup men with the Padres. Non-drafted free agent out of Corpus Christi. He's from the same hometown as Michael Gonzalez. You know who else is from Corpus Christi, Texas?
Who's that?
Bert Hooton.
Knuckle curve.
They got a minor league team down there. If you ever want to stop by, right on the bay, you'd love that. Good fishing down there on the bay. The Corpus Christi Hooks.
Let's go there. We have an off day in Houston.
Yeah, we could do
take
that.
A ride?
Yeah, go down to Snoopy's. Just a nice little 4-hour jaunt. Do a little golf fishing. You're into that?
I'd love it.
3-1. And it's ball 4. So Braun draws the walk. His second walk tonight.
Adams with a 5-0 lead goes with a 3-ball 1-strike slider. That's the 7th walk issued by the Phillies tonight.
And yet the Brewers have not scored. Cloyd walked 5. So here's Ramirez now. The Brewers just get a little bit going. Part of the order that can do some damage. Ramos has a hit tonight. He's 1 for 2.
Actually, that's just 6 walks. My mistake. Still a lot of walks without plating a run. Brewers have left 8 on the bases. They've stranded a base runner in every inning but the 4th inning.
There goes Braun. And a strike to Ramirez. Braun steals second easily. Well, there you go, Rock. That's what you're talking about earlier tonight.
Yeah, just try and get something going. If you feel like you can make it, go. If you don't, just stay put. But you better not get thrown out on the bases down by 5 in the 8th inning. Big lead, good jump, and Brawny makes it in easily and eliminates the double play, which has been an issue for the Brewers tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get down early, you don't run as much, you see double plays. You certainly aren't going to bunt runners over when you're down 4-0. All the little things you do in a closer ball game.
Keep the pressure on. Why not?
Ball and a strike on Ramirez. And a broken bat, little bouncer out to second. Braun will advance as Galvis shovels it over to first base for the first out. And right on cue, that play Galvis just makes. That's a perfect example of playing free and easy. And when you have a lead like this, you shovel a ball out of the glove in a 5-0 lead. You'd never do that if it was a closer game. And the Brewers at some point have to get the opponent into a stress situation.
Actually, you should never do that.
That's a good point. Well, you know, like if it's bang bang and it's your only chance.
That's putting a little bit of showmanship into the game, if you will.
There's Lucroy now.
A lot of bad things can happen when you do that. Ball get caught in the web and flip straight up, but he's able to get the out, though.
And a bouncing ball to third. Young will allow the run to score as Lucroy is thrown out.
So you steal the base, you get a couple of outs, and you play the run.
First one on the board tonight. Well, not a whole lot to choose from tonight, but our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. How about we go with Wisconsin football head coach Gary Anderson? No problem, and a strike. And we're wishing him well this year. Gary Anderson taking over as the head man at Wisconsin. And talk about a guy winning the press conference. That was one of the more impressive opening press conferences I've ever seen. Motivation at its best. He had a lot of great points. He talked about being in the Big Ten and being at Wisconsin. And made you want to run through a wall. I can't wait to see the Badgers football this year. Good luck to Gary.
I'd like to see you run through a wall.
I've tried many times.
Yeah.
The walls are still standing. Sliding glass doors and all kinds of things. Gomez out to center field. And Revere makes a catch, and the Brewers finally score, but get just one after a leadoff walk. 5-1 Philly. Fast is presented by authority of the Brewers. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of Johnny Logan and the Milwaukee Brewers. Rick Badenhop back out there for the ninth, trying to give the Brewers a couple of clean innings. First ball swinging, Michael Young. One pitch, one out. Well, the Brewers will be back at it tomorrow. Alfredo Figueroa against Cliff Lee.
Next batter, the right fielder, John Baker.
Figueroa looking for his first win as a Brewer. Getting a chance to start. Probably the most you could ask out of him would be 5 innings.
And that's what he gave Ron Renneke last time.
Well, if you've never seen Cliff Lee pitch, it's worth your time. He's one of the best in the game. 7-2, 2.45 ERA for Cliff Lee this year. Former Cy Young Award winner on the mound tomorrow for the Phillies.
Man, Figueroa actually worked out of the bullpen against the Phillies on Sunday. 3 1/3 innings of scoreless relief. Gave up a couple of hits, a couple of strikeouts, and Cliff Lee left with a nice lead. The Brewers would knock on the door at the end, just came up short.
There's a swinging bunt, and Mayberry is aboard with an infield hit. That's his 3rd of the night. 2 of them are infield hits.
And you better believe it, he'll take that. All the line drives that you hit throughout the course of the year to get caught. A swinging bunt, and he gets a knock out of it.
Here's Jimmy Rollins now. Phillies have dominated the Brewers here at Miller Park in recent play. Philadelphia is 8-3 against the Brewers. They've won 8 of their last 11, trying to make it 9 out of 12. They start a 10-game road trip tonight. They got the Twins next, the Rockies after that. Kind of a telling June road trip for Philadelphia. They're making a run at their 5th straight win, and Charlie Manuel looking at his team going back over 500 with a victory tonight. They were 5 games under at 16-21 on May 10th. Less than a month ago. Mayberry takes off, throw to second in time for the out. Mayberry caught stealing.
Yeah, that's a beautiful throw by Jonathan Lucroy. He's throwing the baseball pretty well. That one right on the money. It had to be. Mayberry very close at second base, but Mark Carlson gives the Brewers the call.
So 2 outs. And a 1-2 count on Jimmy Rollins. On the ground, nice easy hop for Jeanette. And a good job, Burt Badenhop. 2 scoreless. He in hand. Go 4 scoreless innings to the finish line. Last call. Waiting for one tonight. Haven't gotten there quite yet. Last home run was Monday. Ricky Weeks went deep. Almost hit 2 in that game. had one that went to review, and it was called the triple, but Weeks hit his 4th of the year on the Powerball home run count Monday. That's where we are, 5-1. The Phillies, bottom of the 9th inning. They're still having some fun here at Miller Park. It's always fun at Miller Park, despite what is happening on the field. You can always
absolutely
have a good time. That's the beauty of baseball. Look at that boy. It's his first game ever, Isaiah. He's not leaving. Mom's trying to get him to leave. He's saying, no way. He's hanging right here on this rail.
There's cotton candy yet to be had.
Yeah, she bribed him with something. Antonio Bastardo is in to pitch, as the Brewers head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Juan Francisco will lead off, then Scooter Gennett. Looks like Weeks is going to hit for Gennett.
Bastardo picked up the save against the Brewers on Sunday. Wasn't easy, but he's able to save the game. His 10th save of his career.
Oh, a nice play, but it rolls out of the glove of Galvis, and this is going to be Juan Francisco's first hit as a Brewer. And wouldn't you know, it comes against a left-handed pitcher. He'll hit that right on the nose. Galvis trying to make a great play. Not quite.
Yep, ate him up on that one hopper. And, well, you never know. They're going to roll the ball in, but he doesn't care about that baseball.
Maybe they thought it was his first hit of his career.
Right. Yeah, slider from Bastardo, and Francisco able to get the bat head out and hit it hard. One hopper, a top spin, one hopper, getting through Galvis.
Here's Ricky Weeks, first ball swinging. Weeks pinch hitting for Gennett. Looks like Jeff Bianchi will hit in the pitcher spot next. Oh, and 2. Two bloops and a blast from this point will get you there. Count remains 0-2.
Ricky's been swinging it much better lately. Last week or so.
Oh, and 2 to Weeks. Bastardo delivers down in the dirt. Nice block back there by Kratz. Ricky Weeks has hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games. And during that stretch, he's hitting .324. 11 hits in his last 34 at-bats. Just as his playing time is threatened with the arrival of Scooter Gennett. Bouncing ball to short. Rollins to Galvis for 1. And that's all they'll get. 1 gone here in the 9th. Now the Brewers draft, it's inching its way towards the Brewers pick. They're still inside 50 picks. The Brewers draft 54. So if they do make that draft pick while we're still on the air for this game, or Brewers Live will have it for you. If not, you'll have to go to the web. And we're going to plan on talking to Bruce Side on Sunday, the amateur scouting director. We'll get the full rundown from him. As Bianchi pinch hits. Back at it tomorrow. Brewers and the Phillies game 2 of this 4-game series. 6:30 airtime for Brewers Live. First pitch just after 7. Oh, and 2. Weeks at first, the 0-2 on the way. And a ball and 2 strikes. Jeff Bianchi. He grew up just outside Philadelphia, about an hour outside Philadelphia in Lancaster, PA. And he takes a called strike 3. 2 outs. So Nori Aoki, the last hope for the Brewers here in the 9th inning. Not much going on for the Brewers tonight in all facets. Willie Peralta struggled in another start, giving up 5 runs in 5 innings. Brewers scored their first run last inning on a ground out. And the Brewers in danger of dropping to 15 games under 500. 1 out away from that, which would be a season low. Bouncing ball to first, right to Howard, and that's that. Another tough night at the office for the Milwaukee Brewers, and they're starting to stack up as the Brewers go down 5-1. Phillies win it. We send it out to Craig Kashawn. Time now for Brewers Live. Craig.
Okay, Brian, thanks.